Lyle, how you doing, bud?
What's up, man?
Same old, same old. Just another weekend weather paradise here in northeastern Illinois. Let me tell you,
North weather paradise, huh?
we got thunderstorms and lightning and tornado alarms up here in McHenry County.
I tell
It
you
should be.
what,
They're saying 90% chance of snow tonight with an inch of accumulation.
you aren't you the lucky one?
It's a long year.
I can't get over the wind we're having here. It's just unbelievable. It was
Yeah, well,
actually it was actually 68 this morning. Got up there before noon, and then it just plummeted since then. But
we
it was
had
nice.
a high today, I think, of like 44 degrees. I saw in my truck. I was doing some running around, had to go visit my mom, take care of some stuff for her. And I did get to go fishing yesterday, but we'll talk about that later because I got a lot of bitching to do about that. Let me tell you. We got Other than that, I'm looking at the weather right here. Besides the horrible storm conditions, I got temperatures at 37 degrees. I'm looking at my 10-day temperature here. Let me collapse that because it was on the expanded view. I think, oh, look at this. This Sunday will be the warmest day in the next 10 with a high of 46 degrees and raining.
Man,
Highs in the 20s, lows in the 20s for the next 10 days. So
it's crazy.
Muddy paw season 2 to boot.
Like I told you a while ago, the other thing is, once we're done with this wind and crap, then the rain starts. So,
yeah. Look at this. We got more people coming here. What do you say? I say hello to everybody in chat. We can get started.
Sounds like a plan.
I see Benoit fishing outdoors. Hello, ladies. How you doing? There's my buddy Bugman22. Buggy got out, did a little fishing. He didn't do so great, but I'm going to fill you in on yesterday, and I probably did worse than he did. Carolina Catfish in the house. What's up? There's Crappie Day, Darren. How you doing, Darren? Greg Burgess in the house. There's my buddy Jersey. How you doing? Jersey got a big old channel cat. I think he got a PB, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jersey, in the chat, would you? Schmieder of the Cedars in the house, and my buddy Wabash Nate. How are you guys doing today? Thanks for joining us on Panfish Nation. There we go. So you guys had a good show on Monday night. It was fun to watch Danny Stone out there fishing. You know, he can carry a show. He makes your guys' jobs
real well.
He makes your guys' jobs pretty easy.
Yep, no dull moments with Danny.
Not at all. He's a good dude. I like Danny. Me and him got a chance to sit down and talk a little bit when I went to CatCon 2 years ago. So we kind of hit it off pretty good there. So me and Danny, we talk whenever we get a chance to. He's always messaging me reels and shorts and jokes and stuff.
Yeah,
so
I get him. He had a surprise for us when he had Jerry Parker on there. Jerry went down to help him carry stuff up and down where they was at, which is very nice of him.
Well, they fished the Caskia down there, and I got to go down there and fish with like Avid and Jason Lamb. If Jason comes in here, he was there. That's where I met Jason at, and a few other people, some long lost folks. But where they were fishing, I know where that is, and that's a long hike to carry a lot of gear.
Oh, yeah,
long hike to carry a lot of gear that way. So, but the day I left down there, I believe Jason Lamb caught like 3 50-pounders in that exact same spot too.
Is this what you're looking for?
1801 for New Jersey waters. It's a once in a lifetime. At least for me, it was. Took 60 years.
Wow!
Congratulations, man. That's a dandy fish. On the Fox River here, my PB on the Fox is only like 14 pounds and like 2 ounces, and that's pretty big. You know, it's funny because I've caught 3 of them right there at that 14 2 pound range, which is kind of tells you where it is at. You know, Ryan over at Setting Hooks Crossing Eyes, he's gotten a couple of big ones out of there in the 20s, but I just don't seem to trip over them. So
yeah.
going up north is something else. I see Josh, the weekend angler. He's in here. What's going on, Josh? How you doing, bud? I see Mike Irvin in the house. How you doing, Mike? I think I seen somebody else in here. Who?
Kevin Couple.
Oh, how you doing, Kevin? What's going on? Curvy's Outdoors. I think that's a new one. Welcome. How you doing? I could be mistaken. Forgive me if I am.
Not sure. I believe it is new to me, but then I forget things. So
yeah, we do. Lyle, when we decided on just doing a general chat show tonight, I'm thinking we've been doing this for quite some time. So I went back and counted all the episodes that we've done. Can you take a guess?
Oh no, I haven't looked.
220 episodes of Panfish Nation.
Wow.
Our very first one, I was looking at that one with Babe Winkleman. That was pretty exciting for sure.
That was pretty cool. Babe's health's not very good right now, but it wasn't then either.
Yeah, he was sharp as a tack when we had him on the show.
I'm still good. He's just he's got bad lungs and he still smokes and he likes to have a drink now and again, and I can't blame him for all that.
I was going to say I wouldn't know anything about any of that.
Yeah, he just he's just not quite what he used to be, but he is very intelligent and he's got answers for everything.
And a lot of experience under his belt to back all that up.
Absolutely.
And don't question him on anything. He'll call you on that.
Yeah, that's fact.
What's going on, John? John joined us over at Small Water Charters. Also, we got Jeff Beal over at Fishing with Jeff Beal. What's going on? He says panfish are awake and swimming. I beg to differ. We'll talk about that here in a minute, though. Bugman's having bad weather too. He says it's going to get crappy here for a few days. I got 10 days of crappy weather.
That's a fact.
Josh says 2 weeks from now you must have Stan Smith as a guest. Okay, can fill us in on what's going on with Stan. I haven't talked to Stan in a while. Hopefully he's well. We want to make sure we keep Ernest in our prayers. River at 3030, he's not feeling well. He's back in the hospital. Same with Troy. Troy Boy, I think his username. He used to hang around quite a bit. He pops in every now and then. Mm-hmm. He's in the hospital. He had a heart attack too. So.
Oh no.
Oh, look at this. Jeff said he's going to send me some pictures. Jeff, go ahead and send me some pictures. If they're not if they're family friendly, we'll be able to show them. Oh, he says Stan needs to be on episode 222. Gotcha. Now I understand. Cool. So have you been fishing lately, Lyle?
I went fishing today.
How'd that go?
It didn't go very well.
It
started out with real nice. I mean, it was 60-some degrees when I got up. Didn't get cold last night at all. Then it warmed up to about 66, 68, something like that. And I decided to take my dog. And I went to a area on Salt River that you can walk down to the bank, sort of. And there's a little place to stand there, no place to sit or anything. But I was just going to try for a channel cat while I tried to catch some bluegill. And I made the first rod out okay. But the next one, she had to jump in after it. And the one after that, and every one after that. I finally had to put them up. She couldn't keep her out of the fishing lines. Labs are like that. I mean, swimming around, crawling in and off the bank, and I'd holler at her. She'd come over and sit down. If I turned my head, she's back in there, ass deep. And I finally just said, it started raining then. And I thought, well, that's a prime time to go. Nothing like riding in your truck with a wet dog.
It'll still smell like a wet dog in the morning, I'll bet.
No, actually, she didn't smell at all. So she dried off pretty quick. I took her a place when it quit raining. I let her out. she dried off out in the sun, and
Hmm.
I got home. It wasn't raining here, of course.
You know, when I got my two little dogs, well, they're not that little, but when I got my two dogs, I'm thinking I'm going to have me a couple of fishing buddies. Yeah, it ain't going to work out that well for that very same reason, I think. Maybe I'll get them used to it in there, but right now, we'll wait for the weather to get a little warmed up. We've had them on a boat a couple of times. She even bought them some life jackets, which I don't mind them wearing because they got handles on the back. If I need to scoop them up out of the water,
Yeah,
just grab them like a suitcase, and
that's
away
right.
we go. I'm fine with it, no matter how pink they are. They do look pretty silly in it, and they look pretty miserable, but that's another story.
Yeah, they can deal with that.
They're here to make me happy, not the other way around.
Exactly right.
Jerry Parker's joined us. What's going on, Jerry? How you doing, bud? There's someone I hope to get down and fish with, if not this year, soon. That'd be cool. And you, definitely. Maybe we can all meet in somewhere and go fishing together. I'm checking my messages, see if that one came in yet. Not yet. So we'll see what's going on. So I went fishing. Well, all right. Here we go. Here's story time. I had to decide. Yesterday was pretty nice weather here. It was overcast, which I like when I'm fishing for crappie, which is what I was trying to find. And it was the first time I was putting the boat in the water for the year. And I'm thinking, well, I need somewhere where I can, stretch its legs out. I wanted to, run it since it'd be the first time. Let her get warmed up, run it. And no better place to do it than on that 18-mile stretch of river that I fish.
Right.
So I figured, well, I've been searching for crappie on that stretch of river. Sometimes, usually I'll get a couple, but I never really got any time. I think the best I've done was like 10 or 11, I think, crappie in the day. But usually it's like a 6-pack I can leave with. Man, yeah. I got that boat in the water, got everything all rigged up, checked a couple of spots. I was running my sonar over in the main channel, checking the ledges. Not only was I checking them, I was throwing baits to them, doing all sorts of stuff. I was marking tons of bait. I couldn't see any fish in that bait, but I fished it anyways, hoping that maybe since the water was still cold, it was only 45-degree water temp, that they might be on the bottom. I don't care what anybody says. I know for a fact that crappie will hug the bottom, especially the colder the water is. Had some little perch come up and nip at my bait. None of them were big enough to take anything. A couple of I was trying hand ties, had a couple of bluegill nipping at the tails on the hand ties. I even cut the tails off, tried to get one. Only thing I didn't try probably was those Berkley 1-inch gulps for bluegills, because I was not looking for bluegill. I didn't want to cheat and get out of a skunk that way. So I started at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Once it got a little warmer, I got up to about 40, I think it was 48 degrees when I was on the water, which wasn't too bad. Headed into a couple of the channels. Some people will call them like canals that are dug out. One of them's pretty big, called Herman's channel. I spent about an hour and a half in there looking, found a ton of bait. The shad, like dime size shad, the biggest clouds I've ever seen in 3 feet of water. It was ridiculous. Other than that, saw a couple of crappie swimming around off in the distance, like 40 feet in front of the boat. Couldn't get them to bite for nothing. I threw bluegrass at them. I threw pink at them. I threw black at them. I threw monkey milk at them. I threw green and chartreuse hand ties at them. They wouldn't take anything.
Wow.
It is what it is. So I hit that channel. I went into the marina. I'm sorry, Lyle?
Sometimes it's just like that.
Yeah, I went into the marina just to scout, because you're not allowed to fish in that marina I'm talking about. I would never do anything like that. And there was nothing in there. So I went and I checked out a couple other spots, fished a bridge, I went into one creek that I never really had the balls to go into. And I found out why, because it's awfully shallow. So that was right off a spot, if Ryan's listening, right off of Hanky Panky Bay is called over there. Then I went over into another not a marina, but another channel that's got a bar on there, and some timeshare condos. Tried under like 20 different boat lifts. After that, I got back on the motor. That's when I like opened her up. I did 50 miles an hour all the way north up the McHenry Dam to try to in front of the dam there. Nothing. You figured they'd be there. They weren't. So I had a big old goose egg yesterday, but not for lack of trying. I was out there for about 6.5 hours messing around, looking. I just can't seem to figure out where they hide on that river. You know, every now and then, if I'm fishing for bait or for bluegills or something, I'll find a big like 13-inch crappie I'll hook into, and all that does is make me keep coming back for more and more punishment. So
that'll do it.
I mean, where there's one, you figure there'd be more, right?
Well, they usually are in schools. Welcome, Jason Lamb. Yeah, they usually are in schools, but I guess when you get that big, you don't have to stay with the rest of the crowd.
Jeff sent us a picture. Let's take a look here. What's he say? Oh, it's kind of hard to see him. We'll take a look at him. We'll see if Lyle can see him on here. Let's see. Share screen. Jeff sent me this picture. Looks like they're in the water. You can see some shadows in there.
Mm-hmm. Few.
Another reason why polarized lenses are the way to go.
Absolutely.
But they're in there. Go back there and get on them.
Heck yeah.
There we go. We're back.
We're back. Wow. I love polarized glasses. You can see more with them. People don't realize how big a difference they actually make, especially if you're going after bluegill and crappie and things like that. That's generally not too deep.
Clearer the water, the better. They do help, especially when the sun's out. Helps reflect some of that light. You know, I got a pair of Costas with built-in readers in them, Lyle, that I got for Christmas from my lovely wife. Right. Would I have spent that kind of money? Probably not. But I'm glad I have them. I think there's a couple of brands out there that make them, which work probably as good, if not close to as good, which will do you well. But they make a heck of a difference. If you're fishing a muddy river, ain't nothing going to help. But, you know, later on in the season, even closer into fall, when the water starts getting cleared up, they definitely make a big difference. So what's going on, Matt? How you doing, bud? So what kind of polarized lenses are you using, Lyle?
I don't know what they are. They're a heavy frame ones. I'm not sure. I think they come from Walmart, to tell you the truth. But they're very heavy framed, and I like that because that way chances of them lasting longer increases dramatically.
I also find that, you know, the ones with the heavier frames, they fit on your head a little better, and there's less risk of them falling off. Because I've lost
that's true.
I haven't lost a phone in the water, which I hope never happens.
You're going to have to listen to Chad and Josh if it does.
You know,
working pretty hard about that, and Dockery too.
You know, I saw a TikTok the other night where this company came up with a case for a phone that has a built-in life preserver for your phone. As soon as you drop it in the water, it inflates, and a little like inflatable comes up with a rope out the back, and you can retrieve your phone that way.
And friggin' believable.
I'm like, maybe I should send this to Chad. I didn't want to mess.
That's so funny.
It was pretty neat though, that's for sure.
I got a thing in the mail today, Mark, and I forgot about this till you said that. But the Bass Pro Shop Cabela's Spring Classic Fishing Sale started March 6th through the 26th. There is a bunch of really good deals in there. One of my favorite kinds of line, if I'm using monofilaments, which I rarely do, is the Bass Pro Shop Excel line. They got a really good deal on that stuff right now. But there's all kinds of fishing rods and reels and kayaks and, well, you know how they do. And it's all on sale. Total
Are you buying a kayak?
I am not. I'm not.
Let's not joke about it, because there was a kayak fisherman, a friend of Ryan Bort's, that
right.
lost his life just in the last week here. I think that was out by Kevin's neck of the woods, if I'm not mistaken. Moultrie, maybe?
And I hate to hear that about anybody, but in his kayak was his life jacket that he did not have on. It's a sad situation, but in one of them, I can't imagine getting in one at all, even if not more than to sit in the water without one.
You know, when I had my kayak, which was a lot of fun. If you haven't went kayak fishing and you feel safe in it, and you make sure you wear your PDF, it's a blast. I highly recommend it. But I had one of the kayak specific life jackets that I always wore. For one reason is it had a ton of pockets on it, and that really helps when you're sitting in a kayak, especially when you're pan fishing. Have a little tackle box in your pocket, and you're good to go. And plus, if you fall over, I also promised my wife I'd always wear it in that thing, especially when I was on the river.
I understand.
That's what. It's one thing we should also remind everybody. You know, we're getting back out in the season. If you're getting into your boat for the first couple times this year, make sure you check your PDFs. Make sure everything's still accessible, still in the boat. If you have the inflatable ones, I don't know how you can check them to work. I think they have a green indicator.
They do.
Also, refamiliarize yourself, if that's even a word, with where the rip cord is. If you can pull it, you know, hopefully if you fall out of the boat and you're in some danger, you remember where that is and you can pull it. The auto inflate's always nice if you have a choice in buying it, because if you crack your head on the side of your boat and you knock yourself out, you're going to need that to go off. So
here's something else, Mark.
Go ahead.
Here's something else. Those things, the little green indicator that you're talking about is like a little pill that goes inside there. There's a date on those and they expire, and then you need to rearm your PDF.
I'll have to take a look at that, because I did go out without even looking at them. So I'm going to probably do that in the next 10 days, because we got such crappy. I'm sorry? In the next 10 days, the weather's so crappy, I might as well go through and check them out, make sure they're working well.
If you get pulled over by the Coast Guard, possibly the game warden, I'm not sure what all they check anymore, but the Coast Guard will check that date for you if you're not careful.
Also, I heard from somebody somewhere, how true it is, I'd have to look into it. Those inflatable ones don't always count as a PDF or a PFD unless you're wearing them.
That's right.
So check it might even be federal. Check with the regulations. Make sure that you're legal. I got enough where if I'm fishing by myself, I got a couple non-inflatable ones that can kind of cover. I was
getting ready to say, I highly recommend that.
Yeah.
I got a couple that are not inflatable, just in case. And the other thing that you need to make sure of is your throwable device. And make damn sure it doesn't have any weak spots, tears in it, because they will tell you right then and there that that's not acceptable. If it's got a little scratch in it where it's fraying out, that's a no-no.
I also think it's become federal law that you wear the kill switch cord too.
I know it is in Missouri. I gotta tell you, this crap of having that on, having seat belts on, all this other bullshit, when them guys in the motorcycles don't wear no helmets and no seat belt, I say that's horseshit. Try to tell me what to do.
We'll save that conversation for the other show you and I need to start.
I find that very offensive.
Hey, look, there's Ryan from Setting Hooks and Crossing Eyes. What's going on, buddy? No walleyes. I was looking for crappie yesterday, Ryan. I did find a bunch of bait. I'll text you after the show. Guerrero Bagre in the house. What's going on? How you doing, Guerrero? Ryan says, I have 2 Mustang PFDs. Love them. I leave mine hooked up to the disconnect. I try to wear it when I move. Good deal.
That's not a bad idea. I had to put a new disconnect switch in my boat either last year or the year before. The switch went bad. And I guess it's like anything else, they go bad. So I put mine, I couldn't get one that was like it. So I just drilled a hole and put another behind there. But the sad part about that is I forget to put it on a lot of times. But like I say, if you get stopped, they'll remind you right quick.
Ryan again says, I just keep enough on my boat to how many people I can hold. That way I don't have to worry about it. And then 2 of them are inflatables.
That's Josh, kind of you're 100% correct on that. 100% correct.
This way you're not risking leaving at home without them too, because a lot of people leave without them. I have one children's one in there. Not that I have kids in my boat that much anymore, but it's good to have in case you want to get a kid in there. And I'll tell you what, if you go by DNR or we have the sheriff that patrols the river here, you got a kid in the boat without a PFD, they're gonna stop you. I don't care who you are.
You're gonna get in a lot of trouble with that. Sure are. I know some guys that had that happen a few years ago.
Buggy's starting trouble over here, trying to get Lyle to do something. Matt says, do I count as a throwable device? I'm pretty buoyant. I'm afraid not, Matt.
I don't think so.
Buggy says he missed it. Sorry, Bug. You'll have to watch the replay. We're not going to go there again. Josh at the Weekend Angler says, only one person who gets hurt if I don't wear my seatbelt is me. Right. Seatbelt tickets are revenue generating, pure and simple.
I agree.
They're insurance scam, but we won't talk about that either.
I tell you something else, Mark. Now's a great time to check all that stuff and anything else that has to do with safety, like your lights, and if you have brakes or brake fluid in your trailer, a lot of us do. All those things need to be gone over. I had my boat out the first time just to start it up yesterday. First time I'd been in the water this year. And I noticed that the steering was a little stiff, and a way to take care of that a lot of times, not every time, is to run your motor to where that bar comes out all the way on the motor and spray it with something and put it back in. And it made mine a lot better.
What do you spray that with? Because I know some lubricants are bad for seals as far as hydraulic. WD-40?
Because I got that on hand. Okay. Yeah, I have used I had one time that was stuck really bad and I couldn't get it undone. It got too bad. But what is that stuff? I can't. It comes yellow and red and black can. I use it in the automotive because it's really good at penetrating stuff.
With that miracle or magic oil or whatever it's called.
I can't remember what the name of it is, but you put it on. I put it on there, and then I'd run it all the way in. Let's say 2 or 3 days, I'd run it out and do it again, and it finally got it all. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, none of them are good on seals and stuff. But if you need it to turn easier, sometimes you just got to do it. Wheel bearings on trailers, great idea. It's something you should do every year. PB blaster, you're right, Josh. That's it. That's some good stuff.
Guerrero Bagra says, I went looking for crappie, 2 ended up with a small. We didn't do a show since I went fishing last Friday for crappie, bank fishing. I did pretty good. I got on 15 of them. They're a little thin, so I didn't end up keeping any. They were decent size, but they were awfully thin. I don't know what it is. Hopefully they'll feed up. It's still a little early for that spot I was catching them in. And they were in a totally different spot than what I where I catch them at every year. So I guess you learn something new every year. Things change, so don't give up. Keep fishing. Don't leave a spot. Move over 50 feet and see if they're there, if they're still there. Congrats on the Molly.
What's that?
Guerrero Bagre says he went looking for crappie too and ended up with a smallie. Bugman says, I have the inflatable PDFs. I'd take it with me. If I come on your boat, I will have mine already. Sounds good.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, Buggy's mentioned the wheel bearings. It's a good idea. Now's the time to do it.
Hey, buddy. That's some good stuff. It really is.
Setting hooks across the eyes is saying fluid film. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Josh, Buggy says, Josh, I am still waiting on my muffler bearings to come in, but my parts store, I had the blinker fluid.
Wow.
Matt says he doesn't think seals would appreciate that. And I think it's illegal, Josh. Oh, it eats grease.
I tell you something that works on them as good as anything I know, but you can't. I don't recommend using it, and that's anti-seize. You can put that on that shaft and run it in and out of there a couple of times, but every time you walk by that boat, you don't even have to touch it; it'll be all over you, and you can't get that shit off of you. You just can't.
Wow, did you just set Josh up for cutting that audio out of that? There's a good 12 seconds of pure gold right there.
Okay.
Jeff Beal says there's 12 different types of WD-40. Make sure you pick the correct one.
Really?
I didn't know that.
I did not know that either. That's something new for me.
Parker dropped off his boat one day and then went to Dairy Queen. When he got back, I told him it looked like... No, we're not going to finish that. Greg Burgess, what's going on, Greg? He says, all the ones I caught were full of eggs. I think, Greg, you're in Louisiana, though. That doesn't count. That's a different world down there compared to what we're fishing in.
Oh, they're way warmer down there than we are up here. I promise you that.
Bugman says, ever had a wheel bearing go out on the highway at night? It will remind you that it should be done a few times a year.
That's correct. I do mine every spring. And if I'm traveling a lot, which I haven't recently, but if I do, I'll do them twice a year.
What I'll do mine at the beginning of the season. And I got spares in my truck, but whenever I stop for fuel, I make sure that the hubs aren't hot. If they're hot, then kind of it should alert you to at least check them. Get one of the wheels up and wiggle them around, see if it's loose, see if there's any play in it, and that's a good place to start. How far you want to press your luck, that's up on you. I would definitely take a look at them though.
If it's not comfortable for you to lay your hand on that hub, it's too hot. You got a problem. You should be able to stick your hand on that and it not burn you, or even most of the time mine don't even feel warm. They just, like outside temperature. But if it's uncomfortably hot for you to lay your hand on that hub, then you got an issue in there and you better start looking for a place to get her fixed.
Craig Burgess is clarifying crappie is what he was talking about. Yep.
Looks like Chad Fields has joined us.
What's going on, Chadwick? How you doing, bud? If you even open a bottle of anti-seize, you'll look like you're auditioning for the Tin Man and the Wizard of Oz. That's no joke.
That is a fact.
And Bugman's letting us know that PB Blaster makes lube now like WD-40. It looks a lot like that.
That either. Hey, Dan Thompson, welcome. I do, speaking of Tin Man, I have a guy down the way here that has a Tin Man made out of tin cans and whatever. I mean, it looks like it's been around a while. and it hangs up by his door, and it's blowed off twice in the last 3 days. It had so much wind he can't keep it put up.
Dan Thompson has joined us. What's going on, Dan? How you doing, bud?
That's right. At least twice a day.
Yep. People do not think about the fact that you are dunking them bearings in water 2 times every time you go out.
And if you don't think that some of that water gets past them seals once in a while, you're wrong, because they do. But if
you got to remember too,
it'll keep them from getting in there.
When that grease is hot too, it runs like oil inside the hubs.
Yes, sir.
In the hubs. And if you got a bad seal or something, it'll run out on the road. And if you don't have grease in those bearings, you're pretty much hosed. So.
Yep. I got to tell you, Buggy, I would never have bought the second thing of anti-seize, but I lose them before I ever use them up.
Same here. I must have bought like a jar, one of them, I don't know, maybe 12-ounce jars of anti-seize. When I moved into this house in 1997, Lyle, I still got that thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
That and I bought like some value packs of the blue and the red. What's it called? The stuff to keep the bolts from coming back out. Loctite. I still got them too.
I use a lot of that. Well, I have in the past. I don't as much anymore.
It don't take a whole lot. Guerrero says anti-seize travels fast and effortlessly.
That's fact. It works really good, but it's a mess, and you never get it all wiped off. I don't care what you do, you just can't get it all wiped off.
Matt says, don't forget to do a walk around and check your tire pressure with your foot. You can do that at each stop. I have a portable compressor, a DeWalt one, that I use, and I top them off a few times a year, make sure they're up there. I'm always surprised that when I check them that they might look full, but they're not to maximum pressure, which I like to run them to. And, if you don't do that, you're going to go through tires.
That's exactly right.
You'd be surprised how fast, because trailer tires are not like regular radials. You can get radial tires for your trailer, but the ones you normally get on there, you'll go through them pretty quick, and they'll add up.
The thing is, they don't last like automotive tires do either.
Nope,
they just don't. But if that says maximum pressure 45 or 50 pounds, whatever it is, that's where I run mine. Unless I'm wearing the centers out, then I'll back off 5 or so.
Yeah, I had that same problem with my tires on this car. So I went from 80 down to 72, and that seemed to be the sweet spot. So they're wearing a heck of a lot more evenly now. And I got a single axle trailer. Granted, that's kind of the maximum boat weight for a single axle trailer. I'd be able to get it in my garage. So I was kind of stuck with that choice. So it is what it is. Burgess says, Mark, take a styrofoam cup and spray PB blaster in it and watch what happens. Yep, it's very corrosive. I learned that a long time ago, back when Big Macs used to come in styrofoam containers in auto shop one day.
Is auto shop still is shop class still a thing in schools?
I do not know. I don't have kids, Lyle, so I couldn't attest to that. I would hope it is. The one teacher I learned.
I understand they kept doing that and home ec and all that stuff.
I heard they did for a while, but then I heard they brought it back.
Wow.
In some school districts. So because the parents were outraged because their kids couldn't, boil an egg, fill their windshield washer fluid, or write a check. So all those classes, I think, started coming back slowly. Hopefully they'll keep coming. Bugman says cheap grease is not good grease. Do not skimp on certain things. Wheel bearing grease for the boat is one of them. Get the good stuff. What kind of grease do you like using, Lyle, on your boat?
I like using a major brand, and I don't really have a preference on which one it is. Valvoline is the one that I try to go to if they've got it, but if not, Phillips 66, Texaco, Pennzoil is not high on my list, but for grease, I don't think it'd make a lot of difference. The thing about wheel bearing grease is it has to be high temp disc brake grease and marine quality because it's in and out of the water all the time. I mean,
yeah, my father, rest his soul, was a grease maker for like 20 years. So he kind of filled me in. I knew the guys at the lab over at Citgo Petroleum, so they filled me in. They said you're safe. One of the safer bets is go with the synthetic grease. You'll be good to go. They also said that green grease, which we used to make for the company, was good stuff for marine use too, because that's specifically for marine use. So.
That's right.
And it's not that one grease is different than the other. If it's, regular grease or synthetic grease, that's the difference. It's the additives that are in them, the modifiers and stuff.
That's right. And I think most everything now just about has some amount of synthetic something in it. It doesn't it?
Yeah, the additives. They've been using synthetic stuff, everything from graphite to some other molecular compounds. So,
and I don't care as long as I don't have motor trouble.
I didn't care because I didn't have to pay for it, but that was another reason.
Right,
I still got like a half gallon of grease in the garage too. That lasts me a long time. That's just for wheel bearings.
Right.
Let's see what Josh has to say. He says vehicle tires are not good as vehicle tires are not good as trailer tires. Look for the tire with the number starting with the ST, not P or LT.
Light truck is what the LT stands for. The ST, I'm not sure, or the P.
P would be passenger, wouldn't it?
Yeah, passenger.
Buggy says, when the factories were here in my town, we had a bearing shop. You could pretty much get anything you needed. Not so much anymore.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff like that. We used to walk in there. I remember walking in the parts store and telling Claude Boyer that I needed such and such part for a car, and he didn't even look it up. He knew exactly what it was. He knew the part numbers all by them days ago.
Well, I will add one thing to that, which is a good thing. Sheila had blown the serpentine belt on her car the other day on her way to work, so I had to go and help get her off the side of the road. That car was a nightmare to drive without power steering. But we did get it off to the side, and it totally, the belt totally fell off. It split and it was on the road laying somewhere. I don't know where she lost it. And a serpentine belt, if you don't have the diagram like inside the engine compartment of your car, you're guessing. You're looking on YouTube or whatever. I went and I picked up a belt, and they were able to print out the diagram for me. So
that's handy.
That being said, it's handy for them to have that information at their fingertips. It's great when they get.
The $64,000 question is: did you put that diagram in the glove box of that car?
No, I put it in my toolbox.
Okay.
I have a drawer in my toolbox where I save all that stuff.
Oh man.
One of these days I might put it in some sort of order. Right now that just kind of gets stuffed in there, but I'm able to find it in a couple of minutes regardless. So
I understand.
Josh confirms the shop is coming back in schools.
I'm glad. And I think home economics, somebody said something about that here a few things ago. I think that's another one that should be back in, and a class on common sense would just be great.
Don't hold your breath. But anyways, Greg Bridges says, Mark, I use high temp red grease. It will not mix with water and will not break down from the heat. Yeah, Mobile One is probably what you're using. Mobile One is red, and that's a heck of a good grease. It's a high temp grease. It'll work good in your trailer. I don't know so much about water not mixing with it. If you got a little bit of water in your hubs and you're churning at 70 miles an hour, that water is going to get suspended in that grease. It's not going to necessarily mix, but you'll need it in like you will, needing anything in a bread. So it'll emulsify, I guess is the word I'm looking for. There's your $5 word for the day, Lyle.
All righty then.
Buggy says they do not have any shop classes by him anymore. Jersey says they need to bring all those shop classes back 100%.
I agree.
Matt says the school he graduated from still has wood class and is bringing back automotive. Good to hear.
Good, good.
Bugman says it's not the same grease you put in a car.
No, it's not. It's not.
Jersey says, I'm not sure, but I think home economics is where Mike Chavez learned to cook. Not 100% on that.
You can probably give him some lessons.
Probably can. P&B Catfishing. What's going on, Paul? How you doing, buddy? He says, hey, Mark, Lyle, everybody.
Glad to see you in here tonight, Paul.
Yep, and Josh is confirming that P is for passenger and ST is for special trailer.
I think I need a nap. Keep you on.
I'm not sure what buggy means, but he says, I have drawn my own belt routes before
Maybe
changing.
his own diagram.
His own what?
His own diagram.
Oh, yeah. That's probably a good idea, but I'm not that prepared.
I tell you, that's what cell phones are for, boys. Everybody's got one. You take a picture of that thing, and unless it was like Mark's, it's already gone off of there, and then you got it. There's no way to do that.
Well, I was at the parts shop right down the road from where she broke down, and I figured I better ask for it there just in case I don't have signal when I got back to where I was at.
They had it, I'll tell you.
Because with my luck, that's usually how it turns out.
Yep.
Jersey says, not mechanics, but no, took an accounting. Oh, but he took an accounting class in high school where they taught you how to balance your checkbook, etc. It helped me immensely throughout life. Algebra, not so much.
Anything born general math is a waste of time for these people. 99% of people never use any of that advanced mathematics. They're just pissing away our tax dollars.
Josh says Lucas Marine Grease actually rated to higher temps than red and tacky. A little useless info for you.
The Crappie Kid has joined chat. Welcome, buddy.
What's up, Crappie Kid? How you doing? I think he's got a new video out, if I'm not mistaken. He's always got new videos out, so it's probably a safe bet to say that. So
yep.
Make sure you check him out. If somebody could share out his channel too, that'd be cool. Bugman asks Josh if they have motorcycle tire ratings like that.
Yeah, there's something you can think about, Mark. You remember all the little trailer tires that used to be on boat trailers? What was it, 8 or 10-inch tires?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
Just think when you're running 70 mile an hour down the road, how fast that wheel bearing inside there was cranking.
Lyle, I got a story for you. I used to have a side-by-side we used to take in the Southwest Wisconsin and ride all the trails out there with the wife. Sheila loved it. We had a good time. And I borrowed a 2-place snowmobile trailer from a buddy of mine. And are you familiar with what a snowmobile trailer looks like? They have small, like 10 or 11-inch, 12-inch tires on them. They're fatter tires, but they're not very tall tires because the decking goes over the tires. So they make them small. I blew a tire with that side by side on that trailer once, going down the road at 70 miles an hour. And by the time I got it pulled over, got out, and thank God it was the inside tire, or the tire on the right side, the passenger side. That hub, or that wheel, I should say, not the tire, the wheel, bent over, curled over all the lug nuts.
Wow.
It literally took us 2 hours to get it bent back enough to get the lug nuts off to switch the tires.
Holy crap.
So yeah, that was a bad day.
Yeah, I bet so.
Matt sharing a link out for Crappie Kid. What's going on? Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it. Crappie Kid says, thank you guys. I love your show. Please don't ever stop doing the show. Well, thank you for the vote of compliments. 220 shows we've done as of today.
As long as it continues to be fun for us and entertaining for viewers, and we'll keep doing it.
We appreciate each and every one of you guys 100%.
We really do.
And if you guys could hit the like button, we'd appreciate you even more.
That's right. Absolutely.
We got 33 watching. We got 31 thumbs up. We're almost there. 1 to 1 would be cool. Well, at the beginning of the show, I was talking about fishing 18 miles of river looking for crappie without a single one. So if that tells you anything, I did do well last Friday, bank fishing for them here at a local lake, but not so much yesterday on the river. But thanks for asking, man.
Yeah.
Water temps are still a little cold, so any crappie are usually buried in the mud for the most part now. They're not really even traveling. So they're getting hunkered down, waiting to get their feed back on as soon as that water warms up a little bit.
Well, I thought the water was going to continue to warm up, but what we got coming through here, I got a message from a gentleman that we all know and love a minute ago that snow headed my direction. I find that hard to believe, but you never know.
We can pray.
Not for that.
Lyle sent me a picture of it snow in front of his place last week. It made me so happy.
I wasn't very happy. Didn't last but about 3 hours. It was gone. But
that was 3 hours of happiness. 3 hours of happiness is better than no hours of happiness. Kevin Capel says, night crawlers are out and tons of them. Send our kids out your way. Wait, send our kids out if you're too lazy to catch them. They aren't getting any cheaper. That is no joke. $5 almost for a dozen at Walmart, Lyle.
Wow.
That's crazy. And if you're pulling them, and I've reminded Lyle of this every year we talk about this when we start talking about night crawlers.
That's right.
If you're picking them up yourself, don't put them in the fridge. Put them in a cool place in your house. If the wife won't let you do it, put it in a cool spot in the garage because they're in warm ground for the most part. So as soon as you put them in the fridge, you're going to kill them. So that's my tip of the night.
Yeah.
Bugman says, I picked up some red worms today while at Walmart. Those are always good to have.
Yep. Bluegill love them.
Everything loves worms, man.
But I think that little chunks of night crawlers they love just as much.
Mm-hmm. Well, worms are worms. Those are wax worms, man. That's like page 1 in the Fishing for Dummies book right there. Get you some worms.
That's right.
Guerrero Bagre says his water temps are 46.6. We're not too far. Well, we're a little colder than you. We were at 45 degrees here, which is odd because Guerrero is north of me. So good. Yeah, everybody go out and sub to Crappie Kid if you can. You guys will like his content.
Got a great channel. He's a good guy.
A lot of educational stuff, and he slays the crappies too.
He does.
Mike Jones, thanks for joining us. Says we just got hit with a blizzard today here in Nebraska. That's what's coming your way, Lyle.
Excellent. Can't wait.
cheer me up.
Can't
You know what else
wait.
would cheer me up, Lyle? If we picked up that Bass Pro Shop catalog and started placing some orders.
Good luck with that. Yeah, good
Crappie
luck
Kid
with
says
that.
the pan fishing down here has exploded and people are limiting out down here. Those days are coming here.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm a month off of that kind of fishing here, to be honest, and I'm looking
Yep.
forward to it.
Well, it depends on if this wind ever quits blowing and the sun stays out for a while.
Matt says, don't buy them at Walmart. Worst place to get worms. That's just his uneducated opinion. I've never had problems with Walmart worms, Lyle. How about you?
I haven't.
I haven't had any
I
problems.
do open every box because not all of them have healthy worms in them, and I pick and choose what I take from there. But
The ones they sell by me are the DMF ones, and we all know they sell pretty good stuff.
Good stuff, yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, if you have a bad experience, Matt, you got to do what you got to do. So,
I know I was going to Pomme de Terre one time, and there was a little store that we stopped at, and I picked up some worms, and they had just delivered them that morning, and them was about as good as you can get right there.
Kevin Capel with a worm tap says, I feed them spent coffee grounds. They devour them up.
Yep.
I wonder if they get the caffeine effect from them.
I don't know.
Extra
they have
wiggly
a brain
worm.
the size of a pinhead. If they even have a brain, I'm not even sure they have brains. I think they said it's something else. It's like I don't know what.
Bugman says, yep, and if you got night crawlers, you can also go channel catfishing 100%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Look at this, Lyle. Lyle?
Yes.
Read that. I want you to read.
12-inch red breast. Wow. Nice. I do like that. I do
You're
like
right,
that.
man. Those are awesome. Those are my kind of panfish.
Yeah, you're right.
Jersey says, I get the best, healthiest mealworms at PetSmart here in town. They have a variety that keeps a long time at room temperature. Bait shop ones turn to beetles real fast, if not refrigerated.
Yep.
Greg Burgess says a friend of mine caught a 28-pound flathead on redworms off the bank last year. I've caught them off of redworms too, out fishing, little ones. Not a 28-pounder, but I've caught them on worms for sure. I've caught them on a bunch of stuff. I just can't, get a crankbait out there or a rip and wrap and catch them on purpose. But I've tripped on them time and time again, so they're always fun on a light rod. So. Kevin says, Bugman, I've caught tons of channels on night crawlers, worm harnesses, and eerie dearies. Kevin, are you still able to find those, or do you got to get those off of eBay? Because I know somebody who was looking for them. The eerie dearies is what they were looking for.
I don't even know what an eerie dearie is.
It's a walleye rig for on Lake Erie. They use them a lot. It's a local bait out there.
That's why I don't know.
And Betty Jean was looking for them one night.
I don't target. I don't specifically target walleye. I catch enough of them when I'm crappie fishing.
I lake of the where's Bass Pro Shops on? What's that big lake out there by you?
Truman?
No, the one
Lake
below.
Ozark?
Which one?
Lake Ozark, Truman.
Lake Ozark. Tom Boley was out there walleye fishing because he's from northern Wisconsin. He's a big walleye guy. He's got an app and everything. He's a pretty popular walleye guy. And he went out there to find walleyes, and it took him a while, but he got on them. So that's not too far from you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep,
if you ever wanted to get him, you can go out there and check him out. He was just fishing humps with minnows on jigs, and he was doing pretty good, Lyle. Yep. No big monsters, but definitely plenty of eaters he got on. So I had Josh's comment out there. It was kind of odd.
Kind of.
Kind of. Bugman says, I was there at the bait shop. Is not close and is the only one in town. I think he's talking about PetSmart.
I understand that's the great place to get crickets, which is a great bait for bluegill this time of year.
No. When you're fishing with crickets, are you fishing them like topwater style, or are you actually putting split shot above them and drowning them suckers? Both? They'll both ways? Okay, that's good to know.
But most of the time I drowned them.
Got to put that bait in front of their face. That's the best way to get them to bite.
That's right. If they're down 3 or 4 feet, that's where that cricket's going. He's just going to have to learn to swim really hard and hold his breath. But that's the least of his worries, because I done stuck a hook up his ass.
Guerrero says, I got worms in the basement and had night crawlers, but the neighbors keep their heat too high and the crawlers died. The ones you buy at the store out of a fridge need to go back in a fridge. The ones you get out of the ground, if they'll stay good in a cold place. So Pugman says, I love big bluegills and I cannot lie.
Oh, me too.
The Crappie Kid says, the crappie here have slowed down and are full from all the bait swimming around. The thump is 3 days away. That'll come. Look at this. The Crappie Kid says, I would love to put you, Mr. Mark and Lyle, on some of these red breast brim when you're ready.
Just let us, yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
I need a zip code. Josh knows what I'm talking about. Yes, I know. 2 for 2. Josh lives for it. Josh says 2 for 2 getting Mark to put distasteful comments on the screen. Oh, Matt says, I thought you could get Erie Dearies at Bass Pro. My dad makes his own. You may want to try that, Mark. You can design them the way you want. I wish I had time for that. Maybe I'll have to talk to Betty, see what exactly they look like. We'll see if I can get. Oh, Kevin Cabell says they are weight forward spinners that you put a night crawler on, Lyle. They catch every fish under the sun and cast a mile. You can purchase them from Bass Pro Shops. Oh, good deal.
Okay. I have to look into that.
Bugman's talking about grasshoppers or crickets, best bait for gillers.
I'll be right back.
All right. I'll keep talking to people. Where did he go? He must be, I don't know where he's going on. Jersey says Bass Pro is currently building a location here 10 minutes from my house. Might just be my part-time retirement gig when I retire in a couple of years. That'd be a decent job. You could work in the catfish department. Lord knows they need one.
No, Josh, no.
The Crappie Kid says Alabama brown crickets down 3 feet with a number 7 split shot and a panfish hook, and the brim play the sweet string music. I can't wait to get out there. I don't want to know what that message is. Jersey, I have caught big blues, soft shell turtles over 27 inches in diameter. Used weenies from many of times. Jersey says he'd get fired on day one.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. Josh has a question, or not Josh, I'm sorry. Chad has a question. He says, what pound test do you guys recommend for crappie fishing?
My go-to is 4 to 6. 4 to 6.
I use 6 pound as of late because of long line in them. They hold up a little better. I'm not losing jigs in the weeds if I'm pulling over weeds, but I'd prefer to use 4 for casting. That's my anything heavier than anything heavier than 6 pound, you should be using braid if you're that particular on having a heavy line. So
Right
that's
now,
just
the way
my
the wind's blowing, it doesn't really matter
it doesn't at all.
because you get wind knots with all of it. Because it's really been, holy crap! I can't remember a March this windy in a lot of years. It's really been bad.
Crappie Kid says 6 pound vicious or 6 pound Mr. Crappie camo mono line.
There you go.
I like mono for crappie, unless I'm vertical jigging with like a 10-foot or greater vertical jigging rod. Then I'll just use braid because I want a little more connection to that jig.
I cannot lie. When I switch to braid, I cannot go back. I do with my bluegill rods and stuff, but even some of them have braid on them. There's never been an invention in the fishing world I like more than braided line. If you let your drag on your reel do its job and action on your rod do its job, there is no reason to ever have any stretch in fishing line.
Well, I don't use mono for my panfish and crappie and perch lines for any other reason than I end up cutting a lot of line off. If I get a wind knot, I'm cutting that wind line off. And the reason I say that, cutting it off, not because it's braid, because braid's expensive. I go through a lot of mono during the year. Yeah. So I'd rather get rid of the cheap stuff that works fairly well. I'll use the high performance stuff where it calls for.
And I must try an Erie Deary. I'll have to check them out. Run the Bass Pro and see what they look like. Now I'm going to have to look it up after the show because I want to know.
I'll help you place an order, Lyle.
No, yes. No.
Craig Braid just says, Mark, I caught a 24-pound catfish on leftover boneless Hooters chicken wing at work one day.
Gotta figure out how.
Jersey says he goes with 4-pound test, but being a professional, Chad, you should go with 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep. Or be like me and Gene the fishing machine. He uses 2 and 1 pound test all the time just for the challenge.
And you believe that? I do not.
Josh says he uses 10-pound braid to 6-pound floral leader, Chad. I don't use a leader for crappie or panfish. They don't seem to be line sensitive. So for walleye, I definitely do. I'll use a fluorocarbon.
You're a funny man, Matt. Funny man. How many people have ever seen 1 pound fishing line in a store when they're there?
Ice fishing, you see it quite a bit.
I don't see it. It's not around here.
You see it quite a bit in ice fishing.
And
I think I might have
south than I am is where he lives, so he'd have to special order it. I'd have to think.
I might have a spool of it, some of the Sufix stuff, and it is mono, 1 or 2 pound in my ice fishing gear. I'd have to look, but yeah, they definitely make it. It's like baby hairs. It's that thin, Lyle. It's crazy.
I don't think. Chad says, what pound do you think is too heavy for crappie?
Probably 8-pound mono is where I would definitely think
8 or 10 would be the max.
I wouldn't even think it's the max. I wouldn't bother using something that heavy duty.
No need. 6 is pretty much, as a rule, I would say the all-round favorite.
Yeah, 4 as well. 4 casts further.
I like 4 a lot.
I 4 casts further, but if you're using a spring bobber, 4 seems to kink it and break it a little more where you put the bobber at.
Right.
That's one reason to pick 6 over 4, but the difference is slight if you ask me.
Yep, absolutely. But
The Crappie Kid says, I would love to have braided line that is 4 pounds, but in a 2-pound diameter. You know, take a look at that. I believe it is. Look at you can't go wrong with and me and Lyle are both big fans of the Sufix, the 832. That's a very thin diameter one. It'll probably, your 4 pound in that, it'd probably be closer to 1 if I'm imagining.
I would say you're right, because what is it? 10 pound braid is like 2 or 4 pound mono. Or yeah. But there's a huge difference.
Kevin says, I like all the green ones, but they have tons of different colors and weight sizes. Lyle's good with chartreuse, right, Lyle?
I am.
For those Erie Dearies, we'll get them a dozen when we log off the show.
Chartreuse and black is some of my favorite panfish colors of all time. I'm not saying it's any better than any other color, but it works for me.
Chartreuse was the money color last Friday. I got 15 on chartreuse and black and chartreuse and blue in about 90 minutes last Friday. So that was good enough for me. That worked out very well. I tried it outperformed even monkey milk, which is odd in that case. So it worked really well. Will it work that well every time? I don't know, but I've definitely added those colors to my confidence bait list. So they're at the front of my plastics and hand tie selection. So
right.
That's a good point that Jersey brought up. He says, I don't think my eyes could see 1 pound test even with the cheaters on. It's pretty crazy.
Even with my glasses on, I don't believe I could see it. It'd be too fine. And I deal with some pretty small thread over the years, but not that small.
Josh says, I've had crappie on 50-pound mono. I had him cut up as bait, but still.
Well, at least you can use them for bait.
Matt says he uses 5-pound braid with 6-pound fluorocarbon leader. Crappie Kid says, I'm from Michigan. Originally, we used 1 pound for panfish where I'm from, but 2 pound is common for panfish where I'm from. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. That makes sense up north when you're in that hard water.
Matt Jones says that Sufix has some new finesse braid. I forget what the name of it is, but yeah, I saw that, Matt. I got like 2,000 yards of it in the garage, so I'm gonna wait before I try anything.
You that without me?
We'll order you some, Lyle. Though.
I don't need any.
We expect the chat and the fans, your fans are expecting you to do a review.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Matt wants to know, Lyle, do you think Mark keeps looking down? He's making a list.
There's no doubt about it.
Don't be hating. Leave me and my lists alone. Hey, see, look at this. Kevin says they do have chartreuse ones, Lyle, just for you.
Okay, that works. 6-pound braid equal 2 pound mono diameter. I knew there was a correlation. So the 10 pound must be 4 or 6 pound correlation.
Chad says, who thinks Lyle should sing or play us a song?
No.
And the final comment of the night. Josh says, Lyle makes the list and checks it twice. Lyle, I had fun hanging out tonight, reading all the chats of the good people in chat.
Me too. It was a great.
Did you learn anything? Did you learn anything?
I did. I always learn something while listening to the guys in our chat.
This is what I learned. I learned that Lyle needs to buy a bunch of Erie Dearies after the show.
I didn't know what an Erie Deary is, so that right there is self-explanatory. We know I learned something.
Listen, okay, one more comment here. The Crappie Kid says Mark already had the list before the show started. He's just adding things to it.
You could be right, man.
You might be. Everybody check out the Crappie Kids channel. Look for it's got some good crappie content on there for sure.
Oh, he
Hopefully
does.
he's made a video with them panfish too. That'd be cool to see.
And he'll teach you how to be a more successful fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's what we're all about.
And some budget builds too. I think he made a PVC a live scope pole too, which works out pretty well for me. I think that was from last year, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, Lyle, it was fun talking to you as always. You got anything left to add?
Be sure to check out Panfish Nation on Monday night. Chad and the boys will be on tomorrow night over on Fields of Water.
Catfish Weekly on Monday, he means. We'll be back next Wednesday for Panfish Nation.
We will be here next Wednesday. Everybody have a blessed week. Keep everybody that needs those prayers in your prayers. Hang tight. Weather will get better sooner or later. And if you can go fishing, and pray for snow for Lyle. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that.
All right, bye.